Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us again. My name is Elizabeth, and I'm with the San Diego County Bar Association's Lawyer Referral and Information Service. And we are here today with attorney David Munoz, who practices the area of personal injury. So our topic is going to be personal injury today. We have a few questions for him. So we'll do introductions, and then we'll go into our first question. So I'll pass it on to Michelle.
Hi, my name is Michelle Chavez, and I am the Director of Public Services at the San Diego County Bar, in which I oversee the Lawyer Referral and Information Service. And we're pleased today to have Mr. David Munoz of the Mission Personal Injury Attorneys. I probably butchered that name, but I'll let him go ahead and introduce himself, and we're super excited to talk to you.
Well, thank you very much for having me. Yes, my name is David Munoz. I'm with Mission Personal Injury Lawyers. And we've been here in San Diego for the past 12 years now. Originally, we still have an office in El Paso, and that one's been operating for about 27 years.
Wonderful. So I'm going to start out with the first question, and it's just a general question. What does a personal injury attorney do? How can they help someone who may be in an accident or, something more tragic as possibly even wrongful death?
I'm glad you asked that, because I think personal injury is a word that's kind of an umbrella term for a lot of different injuries that somebody can go through. Personal injury attorneys do three main things for each client and one thing broadly. The first thing, if you get injured, you either are getting medical treatment or you need medical treatment. If you're getting medical treatment, your medical bills are piling up, so you're worrying about that. And if you need medical treatment, sometimes you can't afford it, so you need to be able to get seen by a medical provider that can help you with your injuries. So personal injury attorneys help you with that first thing. Second thing they help you with is getting you compensated for aspects of your life that have been affected or that will never be the same ever again. Things such as if you're unable to walk again, if you have a sore back and the pain never goes away. Aspects of your life, like because of that sore back or the injury to your back, you're not able to play with your children anymore. All these types of things are aspects of your life that we get you compensation for. The third thing that we do for individual clients is we level the playing field for you against the insurance companies or corporations that you may be against. And so a lot of these companies tend to be very sophisticated. They know what they're doing. They've handled lots of these types of cases. So we go in your corner because we've handled lots of these cases as well, and we're able to help you level the playing field against them. Broadly, what personal injury attorneys do is we influence positive and safety changes within society. If you look at asbestos for a long time was not considered dangerous until personal injury attorneys got involved. The same thing with tobacco. For a long time, William Morris was hiding the fact that it was harmful and carcinogen, cause cancer, and it was personal injury attorneys that exposed what tobacco really did to people and made tobacco companies warn people what the harms that were caused by tobacco. Same thing with dangerous products like the Ford Pinto. That was dangerous because if you get rear-ended when you're in a Ford Pinto, it is going to explode.
It's going to blow up.
And exactly, and the reason why that was exposed was because of personal injury attorneys. If you encounter dangerous roads and sidewalks throughout the country, and a big reason why a lot of those are fixed is because the lawsuit was filed on behalf of the client by a personal injury attorney. So there's a lot of positive influences that personal injury attorneys make that I think are taken for granted. And if you ever question that, I would encourage you to visit a country that does not have tort law and look at your surroundings and see how unsafe it is compared to here.
Great. Thank you so much for explaining that.
Okay, so the next question is pretty common. When, in your opinion, when should someone contact an attorney? So let's say I had a car accident today, and sometimes people don't feel, the injuries right away, and they think it's nothing, they blow it off, but then they start aching, a couple days later. Do you suggest someone contact an attorney right away or wait it out, contact your doctor? in what order, if you could?
Right. No, yeah, it's a good question. And you're right. A lot of people don't feel the pain right away because they've just gone through something traumatic and they might have a lot of adrenaline going through their body, so they don't feel it yet. In my opinion, I think you should contact an attorney right away, right after the accident. And there's a few good reasons for that. The first is because talking to insurance companies is a lot like talking to the police. Anything you say can and will be used against you. And the insurance companies are going to want to call you and get statements from you right away. So you want to make sure you're protected and against the insurance companies is right off the bat. Another reason is because you want to hire an attorney so that way they can preserve the evidence at the scene right away. The police often don't get the opportunity to do that, and your attorney will, because your attorney is going to be more invested in your case. And so there might be things at the scene that we might need in order to help prove the case or prove liability that we can preserve the sooner that we get there. So I think calling an attorney right away is a good move. And on top of that, the last reason would be you might not be able to afford medical care, and you might need to get checked out. And your health above everything else is the most important thing. And we as personal injury attorneys can help get you to medical providers if you can't afford one.
Great, thank you.
So my next question is, can a personal injury attorney assist me in a work-related injury that doesn't fall under workers' compensation?
Yes. I mean, we can even help people that are involved in a work comp case, but there's a third party involved. I'll give you an example for that. We represent a lot of police officers and firemen in the office, and that's because they could be on patrol or they could be on duty, and then a random third party driver comes and hits them in their patrol car. And so, you know, a lot of it will go under work comp, but work comp doesn't cover all the treatment they might need, and they won't cover aspects like pain and suffering that they might be going through. And that's where personal injury comes in. So it can be either a hybrid with work comp, or if work comp doesn't cover it, then we hold them liable without any work comp component.
Oh, that's good to know. I didn't know that was true. Okay.
Yeah.
So, you know, there are different types of personal injury cases: car accidents, wrongful death, you know, slip and fall. What's the statute of limitation for all these cases? Is it the same, you know, for all? And can you tell us how much time people have to file a lawsuit?
Absolutely. So normally it's a 2-year statute of limitations. That changes if somehow the government hurts you, whether it be a government worker or some sort of hazard on governmental property. Then the statute of limitations is 6 months.
That's it?
Wow.
Yeah, it's only 6 months.
I thought you were going to tell me a lot longer. Wow.
No.
So if I went on a plant, an electrical plant, and I got, say it's nuclear, and I got radiation, I only have 6 months to file my claim?
That's correct. There's different statutes that you could potentially use called tolling statutes. So let's just say one of them is called like the discovery rule, that you don't discover that you're injured until later on.
Mm-hmm.
And you can use that. But I can tell you that it's an uphill battle. The best thing that you can do is try and stay within the statute of limitations that you're normally given. We don't do medical malpractice, but I can also tell you that for medical malpractice, it's a 1-year statute of limitations, which can also be tough because, you know, sometimes people don't know a sponge was left inside of them until later on, but, you know, it can be tough.
Wow. Okay. So my next question is, what if I'm involved in a car accident and my insurance tells me, no, we're not covering the claim? What would I do? Would I sue the other party if they're at fault, or say I'm at fault? What would my rights be on that?
When your insurance company doesn't want, there's a lot of reasons why your insurance company may or may not want to cover it. It could be because they feel that you were not liable and the other person was at fault, and so their insurance company should pay for it.
Yeah.
One of the things that we really want to make sure of when you say your insurance company doesn't want to cover it is we want to avoid Prop 213. And what Prop 213 says is if you were involved in an accident and you did not have an active insurance policy at the time of that accident, then you're not allowed to recover non-economic damages, meaning pain and suffering. So we want to make sure that you have an active insurance policy at the time. And hopefully the other person that actually caused the accident does as well. They actually have an active insurance policy. Otherwise, we might have to get into other things such as suing them personally and trying to liquidate assets, or using what's called underinsured motorist coverage under your policy if you have that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So, like you mentioned, when it becomes, a dispute between insurances, like, who's at fault, what type of attorney would a personal injury attorney be able to help me if there are injuries involved, or would it go to an insurance attorney?
No, that's pretty much what a personal injury attorney does.
Okay.
Is we help determine liability, even if the insurance company says that there is no liability, because they're not insurance companies. I'll put it this way: if insurance companies did what they're supposed to do, then my job wouldn't exist.
Yeah.
But they're not in the business of giving out money. You have to prove it lots of times, and you have to prove it in front of a jury lots of times. So that's exactly what personal injury attorneys do: is we gather evidence. We might use an accident reconstructionist. We might use a lot of different experts in order to prove liability. Mm-hmm. and compensate our clients for the damages.
I have a question for you, and you may have answered it and I may not have understood it. What would happen if I was in a car accident and it was the other person's fault, and let's say maybe they didn't have insurance, or they were from another country and they were here visiting, and they're not required to have insurance or whatever it is? What would I do at that point?
That's a very good question, because it happens a lot here in San Diego. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I highly recommend everybody to get is what I mentioned before, which is underinsured motorist coverage or uninsured motorist coverage. Uh-huh. Uninsured motorist coverage, it doesn't come automatically. You have to tell your insurance company that you want this. But uninsured motorist coverage helps you if the person who caused the accident does not have insurance. And that's when your insurance company will help you in that situation. Underinsured motorist coverage is if the person has a minimum policy. The minimum in California is $15,000 per person, $30,000 per occurrence, which is low. I mean, that hardly covers anything. And so if you get involved in an accident and you get really hurt, the most that you're going to be able to get from that case is $15,000, and that's not going to help you pay for your medical bills. So you want to make sure you get underinsured motorist coverage to help you with the bills, and provide more in the pot for you to be able to pay your bills and compensate yourself for any aspects of your life that you've lost.
Better go back and check your insurance policy everyone.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if I have that, nor do you, Liz.
No.
Yeah,
don't think about that,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very necessary supplement, especially because we're on the border, and and you're right. I mean, they might not have active insurance policy that will be covered here in the United States, or they may not have one at all. And I don't know if you go across the border at all, but you have to get Mexican insurance. So you want to make sure that you cover yourself by getting that underinsured motorist coverage.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, so the next question is, how does a personal injury attorney charge for their services? Is it an hourly rate, flat rate?
Do you have a retainer?
Contingency. How does that work for people that don't know that?
I think this is the best part about our area of law, because we can help anybody. And the reason for that is because we work on contingency. And what contingency means is we get paid a percentage of the total amount we're able to recover for your case. You'll hear it commonly phrased as no win, no fee. But essentially what it means is there's no hourly fee, there's no retainer that you have to pay. All you have to do is hire us, and you're not paying out of pocket for our fees. And many firms such as mine, we cover the costs for you, and we get reimbursed from the case, and the fees don't come until we actually make a recovery. So it's just kind of the best thing about it. I think that, because of contingency, we're able to help a lot more people than other areas of law. Otherwise, just rich people would be able to hire us, and it wouldn't be fair. So I think the contingency is just, wonderful.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, great. And not all attorneys do contingency. It's only certain types of areas of law. So we just want to make that very crystal clear to the public.
Exactly.
So my next question is, let's say I'm in Target and I fall down and I break, a couple of fingers, because they had some water they didn't clean up and it was mixed with oil, and I just eat it.
That'd be bad. That'd be a real bad case.
But I only broke a couple of fingers, and my medical bills are under $10,000, and that kind of thing. Can I still hire a personal injury attorney to represent me?
Well, if your medical bills are under $10,000, I would still consult with an attorney just to make sure that it's to your advantage to go through what probably would be a small claims process.
Okay.
It may or may not be. I mean, the jurisdictional amount in small claims is $10,000. The great thing about small claims is it's only $50 to file it, and you get a court date a lot quicker than if you go through Superior Court. The bad part about it is you're not represented by an attorney. So if you're not used to public speaking and you think you're going to be in front of the judge and be too nervous to handle it appropriately, it might not be a good fit. But either way, I would contact an attorney right away just to make sure that it's the right thing for you. And you're going to get the most for yourself, as opposed to hiring an attorney that'll take a percentage of the recovery, and you won't get as much as maybe you would like. So those are all different things that you would talk with the attorney about.
Yeah, and maybe you're dealing with the people at the store, and I'm really, to tell you, I've never fallen in Target, but I'm just like Target. That's why I use that as an example.
Yeah, who doesn't?
Yay, Target. But say they want to settle with me a certain amount, because I've had these injuries. You wouldn't want to do that by yourself, correct? You'd want an attorney to kind of help you with that.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. As a matter of fact, we had and we still have a policy that if anybody is presented with a release from any insurance company or corporation like Target for bodily injuries, that we'll look over it for you for free and make sure that it's a good deal for you.
That's good to know, because I don't think a lot of people know that, and they feel pressured. And,
right.
That's great information for the public. So wonderful.
Yeah, it's better to not sign until you better speak to someone, right? Because once you give that signature,
you're done.
Yeah, and it happens. It happens very often. And nowadays, a lot of insurance companies will call you to get your statement, and then offer you, a settlement
right away. Yeah.
Right away, and then you say over the phone, "Yeah, I'll take it," and then they consider that a contract, and you're done.
Yeah.
You didn't even sign anything. I've had people call the office before and say, "Hey, but I didn't sign anything." Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you gave the verbal agreement.
Yeah.
And so it's tough to get around. So I would definitely, before any kind of release, I would give an attorney to view it before you sign anything or agree to anything.
Okay, so next question, also talking about the importance of the things that someone might need to do, before contacting an attorney. We mentioned sometimes you don't, like, let's say I slipped and I hit my head and I get migraines, but I kind of tough it out, and don't go to the doctor and don't really report it or have any type of proof, right? Coming from the attorney that has to defend the client, how important is it to keep notes of any injuries or any pain, that might come after an accident?
Yeah, well, it's extremely important. And I'll tell you a couple of reasons why. One, even if at the time you feel like you can tough it out, and maybe you get better. And it takes a year for you to get better. And then after that year, you kind of dismiss it and you think, that wasn't that bad. When you're going through it at the time, it feels awful. So you want to document in real time what you're going through. So that way later on, you're not dismissing it like, oh, it wasn't that bad, because that's going to be harmful to your case. You want to make sure you itemize everything that you've really gone through so you can get compensated for it. Another reason why it's going to help you is because the doctor can only diagnose you based on what you tell them and what you can show them. And so it's going to be very important for your doctors to know everything you're going through, and so that way they can look at all your signs and symptoms and make a proper diagnosis and help them do it faster. Because if you're stoic about it and you think you can tough it out, that's not helping them very much.
Yeah.
And so helping them helps your case. So again, like I said, your health is the most important thing. It's the biggest thing that we help our clients with, is making sure they get better. And that's one of them, is making sure they properly detail everything that they're going through.
I have another question for you. So we talk about injuries. Let's say I'm injured, and and it's pretty severe, and I'm out of work for at least a month. I've got treatment that's going to have to happen. Let's say I have small kids and I can't take care of them, and I have to hire someone to come in and do all of that. This is a big area, and a lot of people think that, the settlement that they're going to get is going to be millions of dollars, and it's going to cover all these things. But what does a good settlement in that situation really cover? I know it covers the medical.
Right. It covers the medical. It could potentially cover future treatment that you might need for the rest of your life, or future household needs that you won't get, that you can't do by yourself. Like if you need maid service, if you need people to help you get from point A to point B, and those things could potentially be covered, but it really kind of depends on the severity of your injuries. And I tell all my clients that you don't want a multi-million-dollar case, and the reason for that is because you might get a big award, but it's because you're never going to be the same again for the rest of your life.
Right.
The better thing for your life would be if it's a smaller case, but that doesn't always happen, and sometimes things really get out of hand and people really get hurt. And so when that happens, we want to make sure we get every single thing covered that they're going to need for the rest of their life, so it's one less thing they have to worry about, and they can just try and enjoy their life as much as they can with the help that we've gotten.
So it really sounds like the settlement that comes through that you're looking at is more the medical bills and future, medical treatment that you may not be able to, drive a car, let's just say, because I injured maybe I lost my foot or something. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up. And, so I can't do that. So I'm going to have someone drive me around and stuff.
Well, yeah, and that could be it. And then what if you lose your foot and you're a professional soccer player?
True.
So there's lost wages there. I mean, there's a lot of different things that we look at. It could be the lost wages. It could be the loss of earning potential. It's definitely the future treatment and the future medical bills. And then it's also future pain and suffering.
What is pain and suffering? Just so we could define that a little bit. Is that an easy answer? Maybe not.
Oh yeah, and it's defined in what we call KC, which is jury instructions that the judge reads to jurors prior to a case starting. But it's things like actual physical pain. Okay. So the pain that you go through. It's things like grief, loss of a loved one, those types of things that you're going through. One of the biggest ones that I feel is loss of enjoyment of life. If and I use this example in court, if let's just say that every single day, what we do is we work every single day because we want to be able to do things in our free time that we enjoy, right? So on the nights, in the evenings and weekends, we get to spend time with our family. Hopefully we get to go on vacations and take our kids to Disneyland, stuff like that. And that's really why we work. If we were to take away the ability to spend time with our family, go to Disneyland, go on vacation, and our life was just about showing up to work, life wouldn't necessarily be that worth living.
Yeah.
It'd be a pretty big downer, actually. So loss of enjoyment of life covers those types of things.
That would be 2020.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, is people are going to be able to relate to that a lot more now, because we've all experienced it.
Yeah.
We know exactly what people go through now because of 2020, being sitting at home and feeling like you're imprisoned in your own house because your inability to do things.
Right.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for that definition. I've always wondered what that meant, and I kind of had an idea, but I wasn't for sure certain. So I'm just going to kind of do the last question. And what have you seen during, the last year and the last year? How have things changed? Are you still going? Obviously, there hasn't been any court trials or anything yet. I don't think there has been. But I know you guys probably mostly work with like doctors and insurance and settlement. But how has that changed your business? Have you seen an increase, a decrease, steady?
One thing that I can say that was great for society but bad for business was the fact that no one was driving. And if no one's driving, no one gets into accidents, and then they don't need us. We had less traffic, so it was easy to get to work every day, but no one was calling.
Yeah.
I can tell you that it wouldn't be necessarily a bad thing. I enjoy helping people in this area, but if there's less accidents on the road, that's good for everybody.
Right.
But that's a big way that we're affected. Now that there's more traffic on the road and people driving, things are picking up again.
I think people forgot how to drive.
Yeah, they forgot how to drive, and for a while, because there was less traffic, people were driving more recklessly.
Yeah.
They felt like the freeway was clear and they can just drive however they want and speed through it. And some of the accidents turned out to be worse because of less traffic.
Yeah, I hear that. I'm gonna take it back. I have one more question, because this we get all the time.
I'm here for as long as you need me.
Don't worry about it. You're a lawyer. I know you're on lawyer referral. And the question is when people call the attorney, do they speak to the attorney in a personal injury firm, or do they first do intake and get vetted, and then the attorney calls them back? And how is that handled if you take the case? Will they be working directly with you or with a paralegal? Because you'll hear stories of, firms in the past that I never even saw the attorney. I just worked with somebody. So, how does that work? Just for the lay person, that's whether or not this is a good choice of an attorney or not.
Right. Well, we have a team approach here at our firm. Yes, they speak to me. We have 3 other attorneys in the office. And we also have team members that handle different aspects of the case. So it's kind of like an assembly line, just to make sure that things are done quickly and efficiently. And so the answer to that, at least for our firm, is they speak to everybody.
Okay.
For different aspects of their case. And so, that's just kind of the approach we felt is the best for people, just to make sure we know that they're well taken care of and not one person is bogged down and slowing their case down or not doing things efficiently. That's not going to help them either. We want to make sure that things are done right and things are done quickly.
Okay, and that's pretty common in most firms, how that works. They talk to different people at different steps.
I think different firms work differently. This is a system that I've kind of developed over time.
Okay.
I'm actually kind of proud of it, because I think it makes the environment for everybody better. I think clients are happier. It used to be that it was just me doing everything, and I would be overwhelmed, and it would take longer to get to things.
Okay.
And longer to get things done, and that can happen in a solo practice. But thankfully, we've done well over the years, and we've been able to grow to make things more efficient.
Okay, that's good to know. I just was wondering, because I used to be a paralegal, and I used to work in a firm that did PI, and the attorneys were right there, right there along with the paralegal. And then you've heard of other places where they never really even saw the attorney, maybe, toward the end of the case. And so I didn't know what the standard practice is for the public when it's a red flag, and because we'll get things like, I didn't like that attorney, I never saw him, or I really like this one. So what should people look out for, I guess, is my question.
I definitely, well, that's a really good question. And something I've been addressing a lot lately. First of all, you definitely want to talk to the attorney, especially the one that's going to be handling your case. And the reason why that's important is because in this type of law, especially when we talk about sexual abuse cases and other types of serious injury cases, you're going to be discussing information that's very personal. And you want to make sure that you can trust the attorney with the information that you're giving them. And you want to have a good feel for the attorney. If you don't have a good feel for them, then that's not somebody that you want to hire or stay with. So you want to make sure you talk to them. Another thing that I would look for is their experience in your particular type of case. You don't want somebody that, especially people that try and dabble in personal injury. And there's lawyers that do, and I think that's the quickest way to legal malpractice. But
yeah,
you want to make sure that you get somebody that specializes in personal injury and has had a lot of experience in your particular type of case. Experience matters, it just does. And with that, you also want to make sure that, at least in this area of law, trial experience is very important. And not because you're going to be forced into trial every time, but because the other side isn't going to take your attorney seriously unless they know they're going to try the case. And it's kind of like hiring a bodyguard that's never been in a fight. You don't want to hire that bodyguard if they don't know what they're doing, if they're going to need to protect you. So, trial experience is definitely something I would look for in a personal injury attorney.
Okay, that's great information for the public, because, we hear, oh, I didn't like my attorney, I need a new one. So this is great tips for the public. So thank you so much for that. Liz, I think we're ready to wrap it up.
Yeah, thank you so much again for doing this and for answering all of our questions. For anyone watching this video, Lawyer Referral Service is open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And we also offer 24/7 referrals now on our website through the San Diego County Bar Association. So on weekends when we are closed, you can access a referral yourself. It's very quick and easy. And we encourage everyone to reach out, speak to the Lawyer Referral Service. Will refer you to an attorney at no cost, and they will provide a consultation. So thank you so much for doing this again, and I hope you have a good day.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you.